We're at the final game of the Champions League phase against Bayern, and things haven't gone particularly well in the Champions League phase this season. We haven't collected a single point since that Anfield defeat against Liverpool, and we've got the potential to finish on 0 points in the Champions League phase. Can we collect some pride against Bayern, or will we finish on 0 points? Let's see. Roll that title. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 52 of the Liechtenstein Challenge here with Vaduz. And as you can see via the schedule league phase, since that Liverpool game, that 4-2 defeat at Anfield, we have continued with the losing theme in the Champions League phase. We lost 3-2 to Chelsea, 1-0 to Anderlecht, and Barcelona decided to stuff us in the new camp 5-0. We have one remaining game this evening against Bayern. It's not going to be easy. And yeah, I thought I'd just show you this game since we haven't had many games in the Champions League phase. Obviously, the Liverpool one. I was hoping to potentially show the Barcelona game, but after the defeat to Anderlecht, it didn't seem particularly... there didn't seem like any point to basically show that game. So we have got the Bayern game this evening. I will show you how we've done in those 3 games since the Liverpool match, the league phase. I'm also going to update you on the Super League because things, as you can see, are getting really interesting now. And us going out of Europe might help us a lot in the Super League. But yeah, let's get into this episode and show you what's been happening. So yeah, since that Liverpool game, with regards to the Champions League phase, we lost 3-2 to Chelsea at home. This was a devastating defeat because we nearly sneaked a draw out of it. Goals from Maximiano in the 26th and 94th minute. Moises Caicedo and Yeremy Pino scored 2 goals in the 64th and 88th minute. It looked like Chelsea were going to win the game, and then Maximiano got the equaliser in the 94th minute, and then we just had no concentration whatsoever, and Pino got a goal in the 96th minute to condemn us to another defeat. I'm going to show you the goals, and I'll show you how things have gone in those other matches, but it has been a really frustrating campaign in Europe. So we started off really well in this game, taking the lead thanks to a goal from Maximiano. Then Chelsea applied the pressure in the second half, Caicedo getting that goal in the 63rd minute, and then Pino scoring a goal in the 88th minute. I thought this was offside where it had come from, but it wasn't. And then I thought potentially we secured a draw here thanks to Maximiano, a great header and an assist from Simon Beale. But unfortunately, Chelsea had other ideas. Yeremy Pino, nobody marks him, and he scores a screamer against Casanova, condemning us to another defeat in Europe. That was then followed up by a 1-0 defeat to Anderlecht, and this was a really frustrating goal to concede from Harrison. I believe he's currently playing for Newcastle in real life, but yeah, Alfie Harrison bagging a goal in the 30th minute. As you can see from the stats, we should have got a draw from this game. Really frustrating. But yeah, it just shows you the quality that we have to contend with and the step up from the Conference League, which has been hugely frustrating. And to wrap it all up, Barcelona decided to absolutely destroy us in the new camp. Goals from Marset in the first half. Davric plays a nice ball in here. And then Odrego getting the second goal. Nunes with a penalty to make it 3-0. It was just a poor night overall from us. Fatty getting a goal in the 82nd minute there. And another goal from a corner, which I wouldn't really assume with Barcelona. But yeah, as you can see, 5-0 on the night. We had 1 shot. They had 27 shots, 20 on target. We were absolutely destroyed in this match. So the game against Bayern tonight is pretty pointless, but I did want to show one more Champions League game before the end of the season. And as you can see, we are currently on minus 13 goal difference, no wins, no draws, and 7 defeats. We are joined by Vojvodina and Bodo Glimt. There is the potential we could get 3 points tonight and finish 34th and bag some um, prize money for getting a win, but I've got a strong feeling this evening that it may be a defeat. Hasn't been a particularly good campaign. This is our first year in the Champions League, so I'm not surprised by it. I was expecting maybe a draw here or there. But as you can see, the quality is just miles better compared to the Conference League. If I show you how it's going in terms of the Europa League and the Conference League, as you can see, a lot of Premier League teams doing really well in the Europa League there. And the Conference League is pretty much as it is. The only Swiss team in there is Young Boys. So yeah, it's going to be the Conference League again, and we will have to win it to get either into the Europa League or the Conference League, depending on our coefficient next season. On a plus note, though, despite our horrendous campaign in Europe, things are going from strength to strength in the league. We have not lost a game since that 2 match in November, at the start of November. And we are sitting top of the Super League at the moment. So I'm just going to quickly go through the fixtures and then show you how we are doing in terms of the table. So it started off with a 3-0 victory thanks to Maximiano against Yevedon. Then we went to Young Boys, and Young Boys hasn't been a strong place for us in the past. If I look at past results as well, we have had 10 wins, 8 draws, and 13 losses. So maybe I'm a bit hard on myself there, but in the early days, we didn't have the greatest of records, especially during that period from 2030 to 2033. We didn't have many wins. However, in the last 4 matches that we've had against them, we haven't lost. So it was a really good 3-0 victory away from home. Silla, Maximiano, and Kamara getting the win there for us. Then we got a 2-1 victory away from home to Lausanne. Akurek and Guarini getting goals for us. Vujovic getting the goal for Lausanne. We beat Servette 4-0 at home. Goals from Akurek, Kaminski, Gilholm, and Muller. Then a trip away to one of our previous bogey teams in Lausanne. They stretched us in this game, but in the last couple of games we've had against Lausanne, we've got on top. So Magnus, Gilholm, and Alejandro getting the goals for us. Kakoli took it to the wire, but Alejandro getting the goal in the 93rd minute. And then a home tie against Basel. Basel's going to be our title rivals, I would say, this season. Batig getting a goal in the 24th minute and Esposito getting a goal in the 26th minute. But we got an equaliser thanks to Maximiano in the 56th minute and Noah Lampe in the 86th minute getting that 2-2 draw for us. That was then finished with a 3-0 victory away to Lugano. Maximiano, Muller and Julian Foreman. So in terms of the Super League, we are top, 5 points clear of Basel. 16 wins, 4 draws, and only 2 losses, which have been to Thun and Servette, surprisingly. In terms of the relegation zone, it's quite a surprise with Winterthur and Lausanne there. Yevedon, who got promoted last season, are just about staying up. The only player in our sort of player stats that is looking pretty significant is Casanova with 7 clean sheets. In terms of incomings, there's only been one in January so far. That is Lazarus, who we signed from Aba in Nigeria. A really good hot prospect and probably will feature in the first team next season, especially if Kaminski goes. I can see this guy potentially featuring in the first team really soon. I've got him in the under-19s at the moment. I don't expect this guy to be a Liechtenstein national at all. But we only paid roughly 1.6 million for him, and he is looking like a really good player. In terms of In terms of outgoings, it's mainly just been loans in January. As you can see, a lot of loans to our affiliates. We've loaned the Australian Daria to Bochum just for him to get some experience. I don't expect he will get Liechtenstein nationality anyway, so it's worthwhile giving them a loan out of Bochum. We've also loaned Lars Gerber away to Yeoverdon, so hopefully he gets some game time. But in terms of transfers, there's not particularly been much incomings. We've still got a bit of money to play around with that 25 million budget, but I'm not going to spend it unless I see some form of world class player. And we've also got the registration of only being able to bring in 3 new players in the January transfer window, which I think is a bit stupid, but it's the way the rules are in Switzerland, unfortunately. And just a quick update with regards to the youth intake preview. It hasn't been a particularly good intake preview this season. The only area is strikers that looks particularly good. The rest aren't looking fantastic. We've had a number of good intakes in the past, so I'm not overly disappointed by this, but I will potentially be looking at getting in maybe a new head of youth development. I haven't fully decided on that. But we have been bringing in a lot of players from foreign clubs and trying to at least get them homegrown for Vaduz, and if they haven't got an international cap, then trying to get them as a Liechtenstein national. But yeah, an okay intake, not the best, but we will survive nonetheless. Just a little bit of a squad update in terms of players that potentially could have played for us with regards to the Liechtenstein national team. So Leon Ebold has decided that he doesn't want to play for Liechtenstein, which in turn has made me realize: do we really want to keep him for a player slot? Especially with him sort of digressing a little bit. He is really good for the league, but I am very tempted to drop him now. And the fact of the matter is, we have Al Shahi, who we signed a few seasons ago from Lagranas in Spain for roughly 60k, and he's wanted by a number of clubs, and he's looking really good potential wise. He hasn't got a cap for UAE or Spain yet. I don't expect him to get the Liechtenstein nationality, but I'd rather have Al Shahai or Xavier Giroud potentially overtaking Ibold's place because we've got a lot of potential in this second team now. There is about 5 or 6 players. Maybe, to be honest, I'm just having a look. There's 13 players there that potentially could get into the first team, and that's not including some of these players here down here that are on the sort of 3 to 4 star sort of mark. There are a number of players that are going to be leaving, so Burak Alzamaya is going to be leaving. I think he's going to be joining. Yeah, he's going to be joining Vitoria Guimarães in Portugal. We are going to try and sell Bakker as best I can. There are a couple of bids that are non-contract. He had a really good spell in Ireland. I just don't see him breaking into the first team, unfortunately. So I'm trying to get some money for him. Fingers crossed there. We're also trying to sell Wallace, but it's not particularly going very well, so he might go on a free. But yeah, we've lost a couple of players on a free. So Justin Barnacle has decided that he doesn't want to stay, which is really frustrating. He's going to go to Dusseldorf. The only thing with that, though, is he's going to probably get more game time. And yeah, he's going to get potentially Liechtenstein caps as well. Ryan Darlington's going to be joining Peterborough. Probably one of the most pointless signings I made. Was hoping to get some money out of him, but yeah, not particularly any good. I think we'll probably be letting go of Nito Gunn for next season unless we can agree a new deal as like an emergency backup. But yeah, it's primarily there's a lot of players that are expiring this season, and they'll probably go on to not do better things. But hey ho, there is a lot of potential in the under 21s, under 19s, and under 18s. It's just basically the progress now is to get more of the under 18s into the first team if we can, especially the likes of Luca Muller and Korb as well. We are producing good talent, obviously, because we are the biggest club in Liechtenstein. Um, but yeah, it's basically, as you can see, and as I said in one of the first few episodes, it's just trying to get the best talent in terms of youngsters. Um, and if that means we have to sign foreign players, and if the worst comes to worst where they don't accept Liechtenstein nationality, it's not the end of the world anymore. And just one more thing with regards to the squad update. So we will be losing Saban to Catanzaro, who we sold the castle to a few seasons ago. He basically decided that he didn't want to pursue the Liechtenstein nationality. He sees no benefit, just like Ippold does. So I don't see the need to keep him around. And there was a good enough offer for him anyway. He hasn't been in the team this season, to be fair. Did really well last year, and I just decided to get rid of him in terms of squad registration to get a couple of other players in instead. So that was the case. And also, there's the potential that Kaminsky might leave. I don't understand why he wants to leave because a lot of the clubs that want to sign him aren't in Europe, or no disrespect, the Spanish clubs in particular, they aren't particularly up our alley. And I mean, for example, Getafe, okay, they're in the Conference League, but we're in the Champions League. And Betis are in no form of continental competition. So it's a bit weird why he wants to leave all of a sudden, but we're going to try and keep a hold of him best we can, but I won't be disappointed if we lose him. There is also the potential that we might lose Accurate as well. He's been wanted for a long time. Um, I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the last video. If I have, apologies, but we did sign Kamara a new deal, but he does have the foreign release clause, which is 9.25 million, which I hope doesn't get activated. And next season, I'll probably try and get rid of that if I can. Also, potentially going to lose Julian Foreman. As much as they want to keep him, he's wanted by a number of clubs, and his contract expires next season, and I can't see myself keeping a hold of him because he is generally unhappy. I am trying my best to get him involved in the team, but unfortunately, Maximiano wants to play more games, which is understandable, and he's been doing really well for us. We might lose Rambaldi as well because he's wanted by a number of clubs as well. As you can see, there's a number of players that are wanted by a number of teams. We are getting a lot of talent through the door. The problem is just keeping a hold of them. But what I found is a lot of the players that do leave, they don't go on to better things. So it's a cursed chalice in a way. Look at Faye, for example. He's at Valladolid, and they are struggling in La Liga too. Anyway, enough of me rambling on. Let's get into this game against Bayern. With regards to the final game in the Champions League for the foreseeable future, anyway, we are a little bit stretched at the moment. That is because we have a number of players that are either suspended or injured. So Casanova is injured due to a hand injury, funnily enough. We've also got Morris injured. Cassar is suspended. Alfie Saunders is also injured. And we've also got Freund, who is also injured. So we have had to go to the bare bones, especially at the back. Enema is going to be our goalkeeper, the Cameroonian goalkeeper. Looking like he's developing really well, and you may see him in the Liechtenstein Cup going forward. Engler is at right back. Adogu. Guarini is being forced into the centre because I'm not really happy with Kaminsky at the moment. Campana is going to be our left back. And then I've went with Muller at anchor, which might be a bit of a risk. Teitman and Rickenbacker are our midfield. Maximiano, Akurek are the wingers, and Rambaldi is the striker. We've had to bring in a few reserve players. So, for example, Stefan Alwat is a reserve player, under 18 player. Tim Schultz, who you may have seen a few seasons ago in an intake, developing really nicely. Benedict Korb, who is a defensive midfielder and may get onto the pitch this evening. We've obviously got Noah Lampert, Alejandro Camara's not fully fit, so I've not rushed him. Marcos Paulo, the Brazilian, who I did want to develop into a fullback, but it hasn't really worked with his tackling is atrocious. And then we've got Julian Foreman on the bench, who's not fully fit and is technically unhappy. And then we've got our young striker in the under 18s in Luca Muller, who I really like the look of. The only players that are missing out are Patat and Silla because they haven't been playing particularly well in the last couple of games. And Gilholm has just got back to full fitness. I think Gilholm might be a sacrifice next season, especially for the players that I mentioned in the sort of squad review / sort of players that haven't declared their nationality. So Gilholm may be a sacrifice. We'll see though. He's always been a decent player for me at the end. But there you have it. This is our final lineup for the Champions League for at least 2 seasons, potentially maybe more. Anyway, let's see if we can get something from this Bayern match. Here we are for the final game against Bayern. I basically just said to the players, there's no pressure, so let's just go for it. And this is the final time for a bit you will hear that great Champions League tune. Luckily, even though there are some empty seats, we have pretty much filled the stadium. Bayern have brought their support. And as of course, there's always that camera angle that blocks out the players. Let's see if we can get some form of result, please. Bayern starting off with the highlights. Funnily enough, their red and white doesn't clash with our full red attire. But it looks like Bayern are going to be a tough nut to crack this evening, and that is a good start for them. They have got a really important match this evening against us because if they can get a result, there might be a chance that they can qualify depending on what happens with Arsenal. But having said that, though, I think they can't get the automatic qualification, but they obviously want to finish as high as possible because you probably get the worst opponent in the playoffs. So, but that playoff is looking really deadly. I mean, Arsenal, Newcastle, Salzburg, Bayern, Man United, PSG, Benfica, Liverpool, Braga, funnily enough, Celtic, Leverkusen, Napoli, Ajax, Sevilla, Shakhtar, and Lens. Yeah, it would have been fun to make that knockout phase, but you never know. Maybe one day. Anyway, here's Engler on the attack here for us. And Hedel makes a good save for Bayern. Good catch, sorry. I thought he was going to go along there, but they've played it out short. Sender. Davies is still there. Bellingham. That'll hit a lot of Dortmund fans, and Bartels. That's too easy. 25 minutes gone. We are 1-0 down. We're not having a good time yet, to be fair. It's a good ball from Bellingham, but that is really poor defending. I don't know what Guarini is doing there. I think we're going to go to counter direct. At the moment, though, we're finishing 34th. Ideally, I don't want to finish bottom of the Champions League phase. And ideally, I would like to get 3 points or at least a point on the board. But yeah, we just didn't really act on those games that we needed to get a result or a draw in. It's just not been a good campaign. It's been really frustrating, to be honest, because I was hoping we might get some wins, but maybe the quality in certain matches has just been too good for us. Which I can understand in a way. Highlight for Bayern anyway. Jammer, it's 2-0. It's not going to be a good evening for us, I don't think. I think we need to give them a bit of bit of a kick, which we are doing, which is to get stuck in. Potential of an offside there. Ooh, it is. I am going to play us a little bit higher because I don't think that low block is doing really well for us. It'd be nice to see us maybe have a chance, you know what I mean? Jude Bellingham with his 8th goal this season might be offside though. I might be giving a few youngsters a chance here because I just don't see the reason to. Yeah. I don't see the reason to risk any more of our first team players. I'm just gonna say to them, relax. Like there's nothing really to lose. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take Accurate off. We're gonna put Rambaldi onto the right, and we're gonna give Julian Foreman a chance. We're also gonna give. I'm gonna take Marlon Taitman off. Deep line support. I'm gonna give Corb a chance. I don't see why. Yeah, I don't see why we shouldn't give him a chance. It's 45 minutes to play against Bayern, one of the best teams in Europe right now. I don't know how they're doing in terms of the league, but yeah, maybe it's 60 minutes. I think we'll make 3 more changes. But for the time being, let's take those 2 off. Taitman and Akirak. Another highlight for Bayern here. They've been absolutely dominant in this game. We are keeping it at 1-0, I suppose, but it's just miles better than us. It's frustrating. I just realised I've got 2 playmakers on, which is never usually any good. To be fair, Rickenbacker hasn't been that good. I say he's a playmaker. It's not showing there, is it? Let's give Kamara a chance. Put Muller onto his favourite foot. Kamara as a Mazzola on attack, I think. Just to maybe stretch him out a bit. Yeah. Maximiano's not having a good game, so we're going to give Marcos Polo a chance. Probably is an inverted winger. I don't know. Winger on attack. Yeah, winger on attack. And we got one more sub, haven't we? Tell you what, we're gonna put Campana onto the right, and then we're gonna give Tim Schultz a chance. Just say to them, there's plenty of time. Unfortunately, he's nervous. Unfortunately, all the highlights for them have come their way. We just haven't had anything. We've basically been sitting back. I've been trying to go with this cautious mentality in Europe, and I don't think it's particularly worked. Especially against the likes of Celtic and Anderlecht, it didn't work. But it's just the way we've got to play, I think, in Europe against the big teams is to just hit them on the counter if we can. I mean, it nearly worked against Chelsea, frustratingly enough. But yeah, it looks like we're going to finish 34th, but I'd like to maybe get a point just to not end on 8 defeats. But this Bayern team is very, very good. It just shows you the levels that we need to get to, which is going to take a long time, potentially. You know, because every time that we go out of the Champions League now, we will have to win a Conference League, potentially a Europa League, depending on the coefficient that we had last season as well, where we got into the Champions League this year, and it's done wonders for our finances. It has helped with. Jalen's been really good in this game, to be fair. Is he a new gen? I think he is. I just want to show you this guy. Like, how good does he look for 26? Girona player. Crazy. No wonder Bayern are doing so well. 88 minutes gone. Not looking good, folks. And it looks like we're going to finish 35th because for some reason, I think it's down to name. It can't be down to name, surely. We are finishing 35th. I don't understand that, but hey ho. We've given some youngsters a chance. We've given some players that not necessarily would have got a chance. So, yeah, disappointing, but at least we kept it at 2-0. I mean, it's just disappointing at the end of the day. Finishing 35th. A bit frustrating. But it is what it is. St. Gallen next. And St. Gallen next. And yeah. We'll just have to see. With regards to the next video, I'm going to see where we are at Lugano. If we're in potentially a title race, like I think we might be, it might come down to the final day of the season, like it would have probably done a couple of episodes ago. Yeah. So yeah, it'll probably be the last game in May that will be the final game of this season, because there is potential for us to finish first. Unless the rules have changed, which I don't think they have, if we finish first, we don't win the title. The title goes to the second place team, because as we are a Liechtenstein team playing in Switzerland, that doesn't qualify us to win the trophy. Devastated. But I will have a little party to celebrate us finishing first, if we do finish first. It just wasn't our number in the Champions League this year, which has been disappointing, but the Super League is looking a bit promising. So hopefully by the next episode, you should see us on the final day and hopefully in a title race. I will do my best to keep you updated on that. If you have enjoyed the video and the series so far, please make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you for the next one, whenever that is. Take it easy, stay safe, bye everybody.